was Trump who took the documents out of the boxes and shared them with his guests. It was Trump who told his staff to move the boxes when the FBI was coming. And it was Trump who appointed Director Christopher Wray as head of the FBI, the same director that allowed the investigation to move forward. As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them, there are consequences. Now, make no mistake, we should all be concerned about the FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts.
Donald Trump has embarked on several ill-advised crusades during his presidency, including his misguided battle over the Gulf of America, which, of course, we're not calling that, and the disastrous trade war that many view as the worst in history. Recently, he has ramped up a series of threats toward Representative Jasmine Crockett, which initially began with Pambandi and has now escalated to direct attacks from Trump himself. He posted an outrageous video on his Truth Social account continuing the threats. What's particularly shocking is that after Crockett shut him down so decisively in front of Congress just a few days ago, you'd think Trump would be too intimidated to continue. But it seems he's too reckless to realize how badly this is going to backfire on him, which predictably is exactly what is happening. We'll dive into the details, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way. And it really does mean a lot to me now. Before we get into the post from Donald Trump, really showing how upset he is with Jasmine Crockett. First, I want to hear the video of Jasmine Crockett, the clip of her in Congress that spurred this all on.
Today is nothing more than a dog and pony show for Republicans to avoid facing the American people for their trash policies that are killing the economy and our democracy. Despite Republicans' claim of backing the blue and being the party of law and order, we're here today because Republicans are willing to throw our country's top law enforcement agents under the bus to appease Trump and execute his political vengeance. Now, I know remembering things is hard for some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, like remembering not to add reporters into a Signal chat discussing military war plans. But let me remind my colleagues that it was Trump who decided to store national secrets and classified documents next to his oversized bathtub and toilet at Mar-a-Lago. It was Trump who took the documents out of the boxes and shared them with his guests. It was Trump who told his staff to move the boxes when the FBI was coming. And it was Trump who appointed Director Christopher Wray as head of the FBI, the same director that allowed the investigation to move forward. As much as Trump and Republicans hate to accept it, we are still a country with laws. And when you break them, there are consequences. Now, make no mistake, we should all be concerned about the FBI. But my concerns as ranking member of this subcommittee, as a member of Congress, and as an attorney, as well as a citizen, are based on things called facts. And when I say facts, I mean clear, indisputable facts, not those alternative facts my Republican colleagues continue pushing onto the American people. So let's talk about facts. Fact. Even prior to being confirmed by the Senate, Kash Patel was directing officials within the FBI to fire members within the Bureau simply because they worked on the lawful investigations into Trump. Fact. Patel failed to disclose his previous work and financial ties with the country of Qatar, a country that, had you read the Mazars report, released last year by the House Oversight Committee, you would know paid close to $500,000 to Trump while he was president of the United States. Unsurprisingly, the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force was recently disbanded, and the DOJ also cut back on its Foreign Agents Registration Act enforcement. Our enemies are jumping up and down now that we're doing their work for them. Another fact, Patel has never even been an FBI agent and is now leading the Bureau. Even one of today's Republican witnesses organizations, the Bureau, has advocated having an FBI agent led by having an FBI agent lead the bureau. But rather than confirm a director with credible, dedicated experience, the Republicans confirmed a political loyalist with no Quantico or FBI training. Talk about DEI. Didn't earn it higher. Another fact, Patel, who rails against telework, what he calls lazy agents, was working part-time in and out of Las Vegas, commuting back and forth between there and DC, while also living in the home of a GOP mega donor. Think about that for a second. Could you imagine what Republicans would have done had, say, James Comey had been living in New York part-time as the FBI director, and if his New York home was owned by, say, George Soros? Speaker Johnson would have forced a floor vote on articles of impeachment within days of this news coming out. But nevertheless, my Republican colleagues are willing to sacrifice safety for stupidity as long as it's loyal. Another fact, Patel and Trump-backed FBI leadership have redirected FBI agents who are working on investigations involving violent crimes against children and child exploitation and transferred them to work on anti-Tesla attacks and redacting Jeffrey Epstein files. Talk about FBI waste and abuse. You simply can't make this stuff up. To be clear, Director Wray testified before Congress last year, noting that, quote, if each one of the FBI's cyber agents and intelligence analysts focus exclusively on the China threat, China's hackers would still outnumber FBI cyber personnel by at least 50-1.
MAGA tends to react strongly when their hypocrisy is pointed out, which is baffling given how blatant and obvious it often is. Donald Trump in particular gets deeply defensive when his clear lies are exposed. This is why on Truth Social, he shared a video featuring an outrageous rant by someone I hesitate to call a judge. Judge Jeanine Pirro. In the video, she's making alarming threats against Representative Jasmine Crockett. Trump posted this video on his Truth Social feed, and I'd like to take a look at some of what she said.
Let me explain something to you. This woman, Jasmine Crockett, and I want you all to affirm the fact that I said in January, she's the one to watch this year. It's loony. Okay, she comes out and says, for my birthday, I want to see Elon Musk taken down. And that's the day of the big event on March 29th. Now, she better be very careful. And you don't pick a fight with the Attorney General of the United States. And you do not say to the Attorney General of the United States, your boss is basically a jerk. Okay? Because then the Attorney General is in a position where she has to defend her boss. Jasmine Crockett is not too bright. We already know that because she couldn't read the statute that she was trying to interpret when she's in the business of drafting legislation. But enough said on that. What the left is doing is they are destroying property, jobs, pensions, and portfolios. And this Jasmine Crockett, if she opposes the destruction of property, then she ought to damn say it. But she hasn't said it yet. All she said is, you know what? I just want to see Elon Musk taken down. What does that mean? I don't know. But I have two thoughts. Number one, 3 people have been indicted. This is a RICO crime. There is no question about it. This is RICO, which has stiffer, tougher punishments. It's interstate. It's a criminal enterprise, and lighting, arson, explosive, all this stuff is happening at the same time. Don't tell me for 1 second that all the individuals in America decided, let's go torch Tesla's cars. There is someone big behind this, and it will be easy to identify who they are. There's another piece to this, too, because you got a lot of criminals out there. I'll bet there are people who, if this is a coordinated effect on the left to encourage the attacks, I'll bet there are some who are looking to short the stock before the attacks actually happen. And that's not happenstance. And you can follow the money trail and figure all of this out. This is easy stuff.
And with this,
Every other day, MAGA seems to be flip-flopping on whether or not they care about the exact language being used. Judge Jeanine Pirro is trying to spin things by claiming that Jasmine Crockett said, "Get your pitchforks." and provided Elon's exact address instead of encouraging peaceful protests as part of First Amendment rights. These are the same people who argued that Pete Hegseth didn't send war plans, but rather attack plans, as if that makes a difference. The point is, they don't actually care about specifics. They just want to push whatever argument fits their agenda at the time. It's clear that Donald Trump is frustrated by Jasmine Crockett and the fact that she's getting under his skin, which is even more enjoyable for us. She should be calling him out because he's breaking the law. Now, instead of owning up to it, he's threatening her for simply speaking out. And speaking of law breaking, we saw Democrats in the Senate not breaking the law, but calling out Trump for his criminal actions and his abuse of power with the DOJ. Senator Adam Schiff held a shadow hearing where he delivered a brutal takedown of Trump that we absolutely need to take a closer look at.
A man who had been deported in violation of a judge's order. And the department's response to this gross miscarriage of justice was not to accept responsibility or to take urgent action to correct the problem and seek the man's return. No, the department's response was to punish the department's own lawyer for speaking truthfully to the court, for what it deemed an act of insubordination, for failure to give full-throated defense to the department's illegal act. This is why we are here today. We are here today because the rule of law and democracy in the United States is under attack. Not by a foreign adversary or some distant threat. The rule of law is being attacked and subverted from within, from an administration intoxicated by its own power and enabled by a supine Congress. Donald Trump is taking unprecedented steps to bend our justice system to his will. And his administration is moving systematically and swiftly to dismantle the legal pillars that hold up our democracy. The independence of the legal system, the idea of impartial justice, the right to counsel, and the principle that no one, not even a president, is above the law. If Donald Trump and his personal criminal defense lawyers, now running the Justice Department, succeed, the consequences will be profound. The impact will be felt by Americans from all walks of life and by future generations. This is why Ranking Member Raskin and I have taken the extraordinary step of convening this unprecedented hearing. We brought together both chambers of Congress, the Senate and the House, to conduct real oversight and to serve as a check and balance, to hold those who misuse power to account and to carry out our constitutional duty. Convening this hearing was not our first choice. We have tried to get our Republican colleagues to hold hearings, to do meaningful oversight, to assert Congress's authority as an independent branch of government. But to our great disappointment, our Republican colleagues have abdicated that important responsibility. They have stood by as the president has run roughshod over the legislative branch and turned Congress into little more than a rubber stamp. So today we'll hold the first of what we hope will be more bicameral oversight hearings. We will do the investigative work that our colleagues across the aisle refuse to do. We will expose the illegality, abuse, and corruption of this administration and within the Department of Justice. We will have brave witnesses speak to what's actually happening behind closed doors, how the Trump administration continues to try to intimidate them from speaking out, and why it matters to Americans across the country. The Trump administration is following a well-worn playbook. In the 1930s, a Jewish lawyer in Berlin tracked in meticulous detail how Germany gradually became what he called a dual state. First, to keep the country running, the ordinary.
I am so glad to see Dems going forward and not doing the well. We're not in power. So our ability to call a hearing, bring attention. We can't really. No, hold the hearing. Hold the surprise hearing. Get after them. I love this. This is great. From Adam Schiff, from Jamie Raskin, this is exactly what we need. Work around, obstruct, fight back. This is the opposition that the Democratic Party is required to do in this moment. Adam Schiff leading the way. He's been killing it lately. Obviously, we know this, and we're going to keep covering all the great work that he is doing on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.